Harry's wife. She could have been a WAG. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing to educate you about narcissism using the prominent example that is Harry's wife. There is so much material about her, which of course enables us to analyse this, to enable you to understand why she does as she does, but also to show various aspects and facets of the narcissistic dynamic. I turn to a newspaper article from the Mirror, which is written by Kyle O'Sullivan. The headline reads, Harry's wife could have become an England WAG, wife and girlfriend, but got turned down by World Cup star. This, of course, was touched upon in Tom Bauer's Revenge, in respect of the fact that when she was looking for an Englishman of prominence, wealth and fame, Ashley Cole, the footballer, came up on her radar. The article touches on this, but also provides us with an opportunity to understand more about the way that the narcissist seeks to assert control by changing the narrative, and instances where, of course, there is a clear conflict between individuals in terms of what actually happened. The article explains, Harry's wife could have married into English football royalty, but plans for a date with the World Cup star were given the red card. You may recall that several World Cups ago, the concept of the WAG was born, that the England players' wives and their girlfriends, forming a rather glamorous and easy-on-the-eye group, found themselves christened with this acronym, and it's been used ever since. And there was a suggestion that Harry's wife could have found herself placed within this group if things had gone further with Cole. Naturally, the World Cup is on at present, and you may be elated as to your country's progress, disappointed in how they're doing so far, remaining optimistic about qualification for the next stage, or not particularly interested because your country's not involved, or you simply don't like football. But you can't escape it. And the article continues, there might be tensions in the Sussex household as Prince Harry's England take on Harry's wife's USA in an epic World Cup 2022 clash in Qatar, which of course took place last Friday and turned out to be something of a damp squib. Life could have been completely different for the Duchess of Sussex, who went on to marry Harry in front of millions of people and become part of the royal family, as well as a polo WAG. But there are very differing accounts of who was responsible for blowing the final whistle on the potential romance before it even kicked off back in 2013. Harry's wife, who was 32 at the time, had just divorced from film producer husband Trevor Engelson and was meeting up with UK journalists in a bid to get press attention on this side of the pond. Thus, the relationship with that intimate partner primary source he had been disengaged from, and as we know, she sent him the ring or rings through FedEx in a devaluing behaviour, and her narcissism was causing her to seek out the prime aims through fame and fortune by cozying up to journalists in the United Kingdom. Speaking in 2017, Daily Mail journalist Katie Hind claimed Harry's wife showed her messages she had been sent from Ashley Cole. The former England star, who played at the 2002, 2006 and 2020 World Cups, allegedly asked to go on a date with the then Suits actress. In an account for the Mail, the journalist wrote, Harry's wife pulled an iPhone from her handbag. She pointed to the picture of a good-looking man on her Twitter account and said, Do you know this guy, Ashley Cole? Triangulation of the non-intimate secondary source, the friend that she's speaking to. He follows me, and he keeps trying to talk to me on Twitter. He's trying really hard. I bet, I said calmly. She continued, he wants to go out on a date while I'm over here in London. What do you think? Do you know him? At the time, Ashley was earning around £100,000 a week, residual benefit, while playing for Chelsea, status and prominence, residual benefit, and had been considered one of the best left-backs in the world. In the United Kingdom, Cole was known for being a love rat, narcissistic trait of infidelity, and had been dumped by ex-wife Cheryl Cool-Lake a few years before. but Harry's wife had no idea about his cheating past. When she was informed, Harry's wife reportedly said, "Some of my friends told me to stay away from him, too. I think I'll leave it." However, others claimed it was actually Harry's wife who got turned down by the former Arsenal defender. If we assume that that is correct and that Cole said he had no interest in her, this of course would wound her. Given the fact that they had some form of interaction on Twitter, he was either a non-intimate tertiary source, or if there'd been some flirtation, more likely a virtual intimate partner secondary source. And even though at that juncture they had not met, if there had been the suggestion of dating, some flirtation between them, maybe even a bit of sexual banter between the two, the fact of him turning her down would have caused wounding. The wounding would not have been massive, but nevertheless it would still be an affront to her need for control, that subconscious need, and cause her to feel weakened and vulnerable, and her narcissism would step in to deal with that. It would step in by causing her, in effect, to smear him to other people, the indirect assertion of control, by saying, people have told me to stay away from him, I think I'll leave it. Now, it might be the case that people did actually say that, but Cole got in first and said he wasn't interested, so Harry's wife utilises the half-truth for the purpose of assertion of control by smearing Cole to other people, by saying, yes, people have told me to stay away from him, I think I will do so. So it makes it look like she's the one that decided that the relationship was going to go nowhere, and thus that is how she asserts control, through a revision of history and the use of a half-truth. The article continues, others claimed it was actually Harry's wife who got turned down by the former Arsenal defender. Cole's brother rubbished the suggestion that the football ace begged the actress for a date. In 2019, Matty Cole told The Sun, "It's nonsense, completely made up. He definitely wouldn't have to beg Harry's wife for a date. She's not the kind of girl he goes for anyway, and he's never fancied her." That may well be accurate, and I suspect Cole didn't necessarily have to beg people for dates. He's an okay-looking guy, I would guess, but he's physically fit, earns a lot of money, so you probably have quite a number of people throwing themselves at him, as footballers invariably do. The article continues, while former WAG Lizzie Cundy claimed she tried to set up Harry's wife up with Cole after they got on like a house on fire at a charity event. So it would appear that the two of them had actually met. Lizzie, who was married to former Chelsea striker Jason Cundy, countered the claims that it was Cole doing all the chasing. Speaking to Grazia last year, she shared, Harry's wife said she loved London and would love an English boyfriend. So I went through my phone to see who I knew that might be a good fit. I tried to find her a boyfriend. Ashley Cole wasn't so keen, but I did try to fix her up, which is funny looking back. So it would appear that there are two witnesses that are claiming that there was something going on between the two of them, but ultimately it didn't work, and the suggestion was that Cole was the one that was not interested. And therefore the assertion by Harry's wife that she decided to leave it does smack of the revision of history of a narcissist, and her narcissism doing that in order to smear him to assert control over him to deal with the wounding. The article continues. While she didn't manage to bag a footballer, things didn't turn up too badly for Harry's wife. The former actress went on a blind date with Prince Harry, later claiming she had no idea who he was, lie, revision of history, before they began a relationship in July 2016, which also appears to have been a revision of history, as the suggestion was that it started in May 2016 when she was still with Corey Vitiello. They appeared together in public for the first time in September 2017 in Toronto at the Invictus Games, the article tells us, and yada yada yada, they got married and they ended up having 2 children, as we're always told in each and every article about her. I leave it for you to determine who you think was involved with who and who decided that it wasn't going anywhere, whether it was him or whether it was her. The evidence would suggest that it's most likely to have been him that wasn't interested in her, and that her narcissism has caused her to invent a scenario that, in effect, she was the one that decided that she got rid of him. Below the line, what are the observations about this? Well, Katia68, who is still wondering about Madam, the Baroness of Lies. Lucky for Ashley, he also saw through the bad woman. Andy 015 thinks she had a shopping list of potential guys. Most gave her the cold shoulder till she hit the jackpot with Drippy. Socialism fails. Lucky escape for the Arsenal defender. Big Baz 654. Lucky escaped casually, so Harry had to make do with sloppy seconds. LOL. She would have been a terrible wag as she isn't pretty enough to fit in. And that, of course, does raise an interesting observation that let us assume in an alternative universe that she did get with Ashley Cole and was his girlfriend and therefore formed the WAG into the WAG group. How would she have got on there? Well, undoubtedly there would be other narcissists among this group and non-narcissists. The fact is, she would have felt threatened by the fact that many of these individuals are physically attractive and would be regarded as more physically attractive than her. We see, of course, the way that she reacts to the suggestion that other people are more stylish than her, that are physically more attractive than her. It, of course, wounds her or is challenge fuel, and she would find herself being repeatedly challenged in that environment if she had gone down that route. Nevertheless, the suggestion that Harry's wife might have been a wag is an interesting one and demonstrates again the narcissist revising history in order to protect themselves, albeit done subconsciously, when faced with the threat to control formed by wounding. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.